Okay, there we are. So, yes, so hello and welcome to Sam. So, Sam is a sound healer and a voice coach activator type person. You can put it in much better words than I can.
I like that. Voice coach activator. I love it.
You do. You got to bring that awareness of how
Mm,
your voice is, your body and it's connected and
mm. And needs activating sometimes. Yeah,
activating. Yes, yes, yes.
definitely. I love it.
So Sam and I worked together. It was actually quite a few years ago now, isn't it?
Yeah, I've lost track, but quite a few years.
Yeah. But what's really cool is kind of like Sam got back to me recently saying kind of like actually the work that we did is kind of really left an impression, really helped with changes that you wanted to make. So
Mm.
I thought it'd be good to kind of just have a chat for anybody that might be interested in working with me, maybe even working with Sam as well. Just to kind of find out what the kind of container of the healing space with me is like. So should we start with kind of like the beginning and kind of like
Yeah.
what was it that was kind of going on? Obviously, you don't have to go into details, but what kind of things were going on and what was it that said like I was the person that could help you?
Well, I think I was in quite a toxic relationship, and probably thinking about how I could get out of that relationship as well. And because we knew each other as well, it was conversations
Mm.
that we were having without you knowing what was going on in my life. So
Yeah.
I think a lot of research you were doing into narcissistic relationships at the time and those sort of dynamics. And so you were talking to me, conversationally about things that you were exploring and insights that you were having and how you wanted to help people. So I think when I got to a point when I actually left this relationship and I thought I really need to change the
Mm.
patterns because it was patterns of behaviour and I'd been in previously toxic relationships. So and I thought I can't do this anymore at my age. That not that it was just a defined number, but it was like I actually can't do this. I need to change. There's something in me that needs to change, and in what I'm attracting. And being quite an aware person, I do sort of healing and I do work on myself. Um, but I just thought I needed to go deeper, and
Mm.
I needed somebody to hold that space for me to be able to do it, but also someone who kind of understood the processes. And I think from everything you'd said to me and we were talking about, I thought Jacqui is the person. Even though you're my friend, and I generally don't have
Mm.
healing, I think, from friends,
Mm.
really. It's kind of but I haven't found those boundaries have been crossed or anything like
Mm.
that. We're
Mm.
still good friends
But
and
that work was that work.
separate. Yeah. So and I think that was part of coming to you, I think, as well, was knowing that you would be able to have that difference. And I think so that's how that started, and that's why
Mm.
I knew you were the person that could help me to get
Oh,
to that.
cool, cool. So what was it about the space that I hold? Was it
I think the first thing was the impartiality. Is that the word? So I really felt that you were impartial. Um, you didn't really pass any judgment, or to get too emotionally involved in, because at times I would be very emotional.
mm,
So you would be supportive, but you wouldn't give that kind of, I don't want to say the word pity, but that kind of pity side of it. Um, and I think that's what I needed.
mm,
You were there to support, and especially if I was emotional with tissues, whatever, and that compassion, but not in a way that you would trying to think of the words, and not in a way that you would get involved
mm.
in that emotion. And I think that's what I needed. Um, so the space was somewhere that we could explore what I needed.
Mm.
Um, so as well, very like when I would work with children, very child centered. Again, your sessions, I would say, were child centered, dealing with some of the inner child stuff as well. So I think, it was actually going where, and you're very intuitive in knowing where we needed to go to, and allowing my own inner knowings of where I needed to go as well, and that joining together. So yeah, so
Yeah, and that's
that's what it
interesting to
feels like.
hear because like your own inner critic, that kind of like I've worked really hard because so to me it was kind of like that wasn't enough. I've kind of like worked even harder now to kind of like hold back and lead, like trust that client's soul, client's psyche
Mm,
kind of already knows where it needs to go, and it just kind of needs the space to and questions of guidance as well to kind of guide it towards that. But that's really lovely to hear that I was already doing that and just perhaps overly critical of myself as we can be. So then what have you noticed has changed since we did that work?
um, so I think how I am in relationships and my boundaries as well.
Mm.
So I'm very we did a lot of work around boundaries within some of our sessions. So I think for me it's creating those healthy boundaries, and knowing when it was okay to say no, or okay to expressing what you need. Um, and so I think, and as well, coming across similar personalities to what I'd dealt with before, but in work relationships as well as,
Mhm. They come everywhere,
personal.
don't they? Like, yeah.
Yeah, and it's actually I'm able to recognise that now, and I'm actually able to stand in my own power,
Mm.
and to actually, if I feel strongly about something, to be able to hold my grounds on what I'm doing, but in a, not in but in a, I can't think of the word, but more of a productive way,
Kind of like a peaceful leadership, kind of,
yeah,
rather than a no. Kind of, yeah.
yeah. So most of the time.
We're all
It could,
works in
we all
progress.
have those moments, but yeah, so I've been able to, so again, it's setting those healthy boundaries in relationships, and those sort of dynamics, and not being afraid to say what I need,
Mm.
and how, if things aren't working, um, being able to speak up about it, which I never would have been able to do before. I would have just put up with stuff and then sort of got to a point where I walk away, whether that's relationship or job. It's very much, I'm able to set those boundaries, be happy to speak up, and to have open, honest discussions when things aren't working, as well in those situations. So yeah, I definitely say that's a big thing that's
Oh,
come out of it.
oh.
And also it's enabled me to fully sort of start coming into my own work as well, which I was doing before, but I was kind of hiding away. And
Of course, you
now,
finished your qualifications, didn't you? That had been on
yeah,
hold.
yeah. So I finished my sound healing qualification, which had been on the back burner for a long time. So I actually got my qualification finished as well, and so yeah, just so now I'm not afraid to go out there and get out there now, which I think I was holding back before. So yeah, because I think there's a bit of myself I was probably sort of suppressing, I suppose, in a way, by not being able to speak out and speak my truth. And now I can.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Oh, that's so lovely to hear. Okay. Thank you so much. And yeah, if anybody wants to get in touch with me or hear more about Sam's sound healing or voice work, then we'll have the um, web address, contact details by the
Thank you, Jacqui.
Thank you.